Major League Baseball's trade deadline is now less than 1 week away, and all of the intrigue this summer rests on whether or not the Los Angeles Angels will trade too.
Waystar Shohei Ohtani. Waystar Shohei Ohtani. For those who are out of the loop, Ohtani is an impending free agent who seems liable to leave town this winter.
The Angels have slipped far enough in the standings that they have to at least consider dealing baseball's best player, no matter how painful that might be. This time of the year inspires a lot of eyebrow, raising content including unrealistic, bordering on laughable fake trade proposals. We are not, as the headline indicates, inoculated against the temptation of making ourselves look like the town fools. Still, here are 2 housekeeping notes before we get started. Foremost, we've used the medium trade template proposed by industry insiders in layman's terms. We've chosen 3 good youngsters who are either pre-arbitration big league players or prospects. Would the Angels actually accept most of these offers? It's doubtful. Would they accept any of these offers? Maybe, but we're skeptical. This is a no-win situation. Either we don't put enough in each package and Angels fans get mad, or we put too much and the other team's fans get mad. We've split the difference so everyone gets made. That brings us to our second and arguably more important point.
This exercise is for entertainment purposes only. There's no sense getting too worked up about the fake proposals we've presented here. They don't matter. They're not real.
The self isn't real either. Just take a breath. Clear your mind, live in the moment, then keep scrolling ever so slowly as we roll around in the proverbial filth and do our best to get through another summer's mad season. With that out of the way, below, you'll find the top 8 teams best positioned to land Ohtani as ranked by our Mike Axisa, along with their fake offers, a summary of the players involved, and an explanation as to why it'll probably never happen. Now, on to the gasbaggery. 1, Texas Rangers the offer of Evan Carter and Ezequiel Duran, and Rape Jack leader commentary. We're coming in hot, perhaps a little too hot. Carter is a top 10 prospect in all of the minors in our estimation. Leader is a recent first-round draft pick whose stock has slid amid continued struggles as a professional, and Duran is a 24-year-old with a 132 ops and more than 7 times as many strikeouts as walks. This deal would probably hurt for the Rangers to make, possibly a lot should Carter develop as planned and the Angels help later get back on track. Still, if you're going to be a championship team, you have to make championship moves. The Rangers have done that time and again the last few off seasons. So why stop now? Adding Ohtani to this Rangers roster would make the team with the best run differential in the majors even more fearsome. Who knows? Ohtani might even be willing to stick around. Remember, the Rangers were one of his finalists when he first came over. Why it'll probably never happen. It's unclear if Angels owner Artie Moreno will be willing to greenlight any trade, let alone one within the division. 2, Baltimore Orioles the offer of Heston Kjerstad, HDL Hall, and Inf Connor Norby commentary. Kjerstad is a former No. 2 overall pick whose career was delayed by a bout with myocarditis. He's since returned and soared into consideration as one of the best 25 or so prospects in the game, thanks to an above-average stick. The story on Hall has remained the same for a few years. Big stuff, but not so big command that threatens his chances of being a conventional starter. We've long thought he could make a good multi-inning reliever. Norby projects as an offensive-minded second baseman. All 3 are on the Orioles triple roster, meaning they could offer near instant support.
Why it'll probably never happen. At some point, you figure Orioles executive Mike Elias will make a big go for it trade either at a deadline or during an off season.
Adding a rental, even in the form of Ohtani, may not trigger that point. The Angels, for their part, might not be thrilled with Hall and Norby.
3.
Tampa Bay raised the offer. Estes Carson Williams, Oneb Kyle Manzardo, and Infos Levis Basabe commentary. Williams may inspire some hit tool related concerns, but he's still arguably a top 20 prospect thanks to his plethora of loud secondary tools. He has star potential if he makes enough contact. Manzardo is a fine first base prospect who has already reached triple. As a 23-year-old, Basabe gets overshadowed by the Rays' slew of big leg and upper minors infield prospect. He's a contact-driven second baseman type who is nearly ready. Why it'll probably never happen. The Rays tend to come up short in their pursuits of big-time stars. Maybe they're due, but our explanation would be that other teams are more willing to become irrational in their pursuits. The problem with always avoiding the winner's curse is, well, you don't land the player. 4. Los Angeles Dodgers the offer to Michael Busch, right? Gavin Stone, and of Andy Page's commentary, the Dodgers' most expendable top prospect is catcher Diego Cartaya, but it's unclear if the Angels would have interest in him given that they already employ Logan O'Hoppe. With that off the table, we're assuming the Dodgers would have to overwhelm the Angels with quality near-ready prospects who aren't necessarily at that top 20 level. Andrew Friedman and Brandon Gomez have the means to, if they want. Here, we've included 3 players who could slot into the lineup or rotation either immediately or soon, including Pages, a player the Angels nearly acquired a few winters ago. Why it'll probably never happen. The Dodgers can overwhelm the Angels with near-ready big league players if they wanted to. And they certainly have the means to keep Ohtani long-term, giving them added incentive to do so. Alas, there's probably no chance Morneau would be okay trading Ohtani to the Dodgers. 5. Cincinnati Reds the offer. Fried Noel V. Mart, Ripe Chase Petty, and Fried Christian Encarnacion. Strand commentary. The Reds were on the other side of selling off a big-time veteran last deadline when they sent Luis Castillo to the Mariners. Part of the return then was Marte, a top 20 prospect in our estimation who just keeps hitting, even if he might have to move off the hot corner. Petty is a former first-round pick with a big-time arm and Encarnacion. Strand is big league, ready to smash with raw power, as well as some serious approach-related risks. Why it'll probably never happen. The Reds have been a terrific story this season, but they might not want to push too many of their chips in just yet. Additionally, the Angels might prefer some other combination of Reds prospects, including perhaps the other piece netted in the Castillo trade, shortstop Edwin Arroyo. 6. San Diego Padres, the offer. S. Jackson Merrill, right Dylan Lesko, and of Samuel Zavala commentary. Merrill is a top 20 prospect and Lesko was a first-round pick last season, despite being in the midst of recovery from Tommy John surgery. That's a good foundation for a deal, provided you buy into the upside of both.
Zavala, for his part, has shown good pop. He'll need to continue to slug given the strikeout rates he's been running in the lower minors. Why it'll probably never happen. It's probably never happen. It's probably foolish to count out a J.
Preller when it comes to making splashy moves. Even so, it's unclear if he'd be willing to splurge on a rental given the Padres' current position in the standings. 7. New York Yankees, the offer. Of Jason Dominguez, of C. Austin Wells, and Ripe Chase Hampton commentary. There are nits to pick with Dominguez, but it's encouraging that he's been an above-average hitter at double. As a 20-year-old, besides, getting someone of his name value back would ease the sting of losing Ohtani. Wells isn't likely to catch in the majors. And worse yet, he's encountered some turbulence at the plate this season, though he's also a former first-round pick who could theoretically make his way to the show next year. Hampton has had a breakout season. Why it'll probably never happen. As with the Dodgers, we're not convinced Moreno would ever be okay with trading a star player to the Yankees. 8. San Francisco Giants, the offer. Of Luis Matos, Inf Marco Luciano, and like Carson Weisenhunt commentary. Matos recently made his big league debut and has demonstrated he can make quality contact frequently enough to atone for his lack of thump. Luciano's arrow is pointing down at this point in his development, despite producing at an above-average clip in double, because of concerns about his hit tool and long-term defensive position. Weisenhunt would have been a first-round pick in 2022 had he not been suspended for the collegiate season after failing a performance-enhancing drug test. Yes, we avoided the temptation to be too cute by including two-way player Reggie Crawford as a spiritual success to Ohtani.
Why it'll probably never happen. Farhan Zaidi might prefer waiting until the offseason, when he can throw the kind of large offer at Ohtani he did with Aaron Judge and Carlos Correa last.
Winter, rather than giving up prospects now and money later.
The Angels, for their part, might want a better top piece in return.